tell me about the worst client agency moment of your career?
Well, I was thinking about my worst one and I thought I don't really want to say it. No.
This could be juicy.
It's not that juicy. It's just...
I could be the reason that you two completely break up. Thank you so much for coming back to the sofa for After Work Drinks.
Hi.
So for our third episode of After Work Drinks, we have Toby Horry, who is the Global Brand and Content Director at TUI, and Carly Avener, who's the CEO of Leo Burnett. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. What drink have you bought?
So I've got a Guinness. This is actually a 0%, which is delicious and by far the best of the 0% beers I think you can get.
Carly, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone down a similar road to Toby, so I'm drinking a Trip.
Delicious.
Which is a CBD sort of soft drink. To be honest, I don't really think the CBD bit does absolutely anything at all. However, it's a really refreshing, not very sugary drink that if you don't want to drink something alcoholic, it kind of feels like a cocktail over ice.
Love it. So we've decided to get a client agency pairing on the sofa to talk about agency client relationships and how they work best and when potentially they're at their worst. Big question, guys. How's the current relationship between Leos and TUI?
Amazing.
Thank God.
How else could you answer?
Exactly. I'm not sure we'd be here today.
No.
Compared to when you won the business and now, what are the things you've learned about each other and what are the things you've tweaked so that you can be a better partnership?
The main thing that changes is that the longer Leo's work on the account, the more they understand the business and some of the stuff that is behind the scenes and that's not necessarily directly related to the advertising that you're making, but definitely has an impact on it. That understanding the business and what's important and where we're headed, that's what's changed really, I think, over time, and that's obviously for the better. Yeah,
we're going into our 5th year now.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it does feel like this is a fresh new chapter. We spent a lot of time together, particularly last year, almost like rewriting our vows of how we want to work as a team, what success looks like. Our relationship is so much stronger because of it, and our relationships with our local teams as well. So I feel really excited about going into the next chapter.
And the chemistry increases, doesn't it? Like when you renew your vows, it's like all relationships, you can sort of get that spark back.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And maybe everyone should be doing it every few years on their accounts.
One of the observations that we had was, I think TUI still were getting or had the perception of the Leos that we were 4 years ago when they won the pitch. And it was on us to kind of make sure that we were bringing all of our innovation, all of our newer skills and teams into the model, which you would do when you were starting again with a new client, but you don't always do when you've got a kind of legacy client and you're just kind of looking at it day by day.
If you could change one thing about the way you work together, what would it be and why? I feel like Toby's ready.
I've been dying to say this.
I know it's impossible, but I would say it's so that we don't ever have to talk about money.
Oh, yeah.
It's just really painful. When you start to talk about money more, it puts everything else under pressure. And I do think it's still quite weird how a lot of agencies and, everyone talks about the value of creativity and the difference it can make. And yet it's often still charged for on a time basis. And so that does create a sort of weird tension. It's almost like something not quite right, but I'm not sure anyone's quite found the better way of charging.
Do you know what I remember when we were at Dare?
Yeah.
Time for creatives used to be charged in half-hour increments. And I was always like, what do you mean? How are we supposed to get an idea out in half an hour? Like, give everyone some space. When there's money and creativity, it does create such a funny little conflict.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have looked at a model to try and move away from that. So hopefully that will help. Mine was just more time with the product.
With the product?
Yeah.
Oh, I see where she's going. Okay, Carly.
Particularly the Maldives.
I'd like to be part of that too, please.
Long haul is very important.
Yeah.
If you guys had to choose one place to go and visit and experience tourists, TUI at its finest, what would it be?
Oh, okay. I mean, Caribbean's amazing. I've never actually been to the Caribbean with TUI. Well, I haven't been to the Caribbean full stop. So,
Neither have I. I mean, this week, shall we?
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Done. I did a shoot in Sri Lanka last year where we do tours, and it was amazing. So if you've never been to Sri Lanka,
Never been.
highly recommend it.
Yeah.
What's the best thing you've accomplished together to date?
Where do we start?
Where do we
I mean,
start?
so much.
That's great. What a great answer from a client.
No, but I think we really moved the brand on in the last 4 years. I think particular pieces of work. I think the Elves campaign's amazing, fantastic. I think the in-flight safety film we've done is really fantastic as well. So those are probably two creative highlights. But I think above and beyond that, it's more just that sort of constant march of the brand in the right direction, which is really important.
One of the things we proposed in the pitch was to kind of bring the TUI smile and the TUI logo front and centre and make that much more iconic. And I think that's been quite transformative in terms of the branding of all of the comms, but also the meaning that we gave to it in terms of Live Happy. So as a platform, the Live Happy platform with the kind of brand identity, reinforcing that meaning.
How do you handle after work entertaining? How relaxed can you really be? I feel like better conversations do happen when you're a little bit more relaxed.
The advantage of working with partners over a long time is that you do feel like you can be more relaxed. I think when it's more difficult is when, certainly as a client, there's that thing of I'm here because I'm being sold to.
Yes.
If you're there and it's very clear you're there because basically someone's trying to sell you something, then that doesn't make you feel particularly relaxed.
So there's something really interesting in that, which is if you're a new marketing director coming into a brand, you often go, let's have a pitch, because then it's my control, my way, my stamp on everything. Whereas there's something in what you've just said about being able to know an agency team for a very long time and being more relaxed and feeling like you know each other's businesses so well that you can get the better work out of it.
Because I think sometimes people go, I need to show that I've made a difference early, and by keeping things the same, there's that fear that you don't look like you're being innovative enough or changing things enough. And but as I say, the danger is jumping straight into that change. You're actually not fixing the root problem. Surely
it's harder to come in and work hard at one relationship rather than changing everything.
Pitches are hard. They're hard for clients as well.
I know this is really rude. I had never realised the impact and how hard it is on clients. I just assumed it's, everybody else doing the work and presenting back.
As a client, a pitch is not something you wake up one morning and go, I'll just do a pitch, I'll be fine, everyone can, it's a big investment and time for everyone and not to be undertaken lightly.
And the transition as well, the onboarding of a new agency, it's a lot of work.
Crazy.
It's a terrible idea for clients. Unless you're not currently
in which case
you should definitely.
But the transition is vital, because I've seen agencies win a huge piece of business, and before they've even had their inductions, the projects start flying in. And then, let's be honest, the business is going to exit because you don't have the information to fill the briefs properly. Toby.
Yes.
So you have worked both agency side and client side in planning and account handling for all your sins. Do you know too much?
Well, I like to think you can never know too much. I think hopefully it helps develop a sense of empathy and understanding and the different pressures that are parts of the equation.
Is there not one, do you not go, that's not going to take 2 weeks? I've been there, done that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, definitely have that sometimes. And you go, it's going to cost that much, though, is it bollocks?
Inflation, Toby. Inflation.
In my day, that cost that.
In my day, I like that.
Presumably, though, the industry in the world has changed so much that agencies today are quite different to the agencies that you worked in when you were in agency side.
Yeah.
Do you have a question you'd like to ask each other?
Well, I was going to ask about what's the thing that most pisses you off about clients?
Great question.
Whoa. I think when clients don't tell you everything, when clients think that they should just filter things for the agency because they don't want to overload them, they don't want to overwhelm them, they don't want to share all the kind of baggage. And then I think clients feel like, well, why aren't the agency thinking about this too? And why aren't the agency worrying about the stuff that I'm worrying about? And sometimes, not always, sometimes it's because we don't really know the full picture.
How do you think clients can get better at sharing everything or sharing more?
It's about putting the time in to communicate and to have those frequent interactions. I mean, I definitely, when I was agency side, had clients who would only contact you when something was bad or wrong. And I think you you need to have more frequent interaction so that you have the opportunity to get the broader context, because you can't really do that in like a hour's download and then that's your lot. You know, it has to be little and often.
Yes, absolutely. And I think at every level as well, I think there's as much value in our junior sort of people spending quite a lot of time together as there is all the way up to the top.
Carly, what's your question for Tobes?
My question was just about what you think the most exciting opportunity is for us this year.
That's a good question.
Well, you know, as you know, TUI's on a journey from being like a package holiday provider to being more of a sort of leisure experience provider. And I think there's lots of opportunity in being able to communicate that to people in a way that is quite meaningful. And it's hard because that perception of us being a package holiday provider in some markets is quite deeply entrenched, which makes it even harder to shift that perception. But I think that's a real interesting creative challenge. So yeah, I think that's the opportunity.
It's going to be a good year there.
Yeah.
Perfect. We did it. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Now we can enjoy our drinks.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers. Do you do Barbados? Because I'm just going to put my hand up for that one. Are you giving away holidays today? Because I'm...
You get a holiday. You get a holiday.